Hello, hello. JC here. So I want to pop in and do a quick video. We'll see. I'm gonna try to do something new here because I want to share a way of thinking that I've been nurturing as a bodyworker and movement practitioner because it's been so useful to me in every other aspect of my life. And in coaching, I apply it, and it's so helpful. And it's a way of orienting yourself and a way of thinking that it's really, really useful if you're doing something new, something that you feel like you don't know how to do. It's also really useful when you're feeling stuck, like you're trying really hard, but you're not going very far. And so that's what it's for. And it's a way of thinking to think in terms of moves. Moves, yeah. So let's imagine for a moment a chessboard and think of the different pieces that are on that board. Each of them has different moves that are available to them, right? So we've got pawns with more limited moves. We've got some with a really wide range, like the queen, and the wider range of moves opens up more options for them, both in terms of what that piece can do, where that piece can go, and it changes the way that the pieces relate to each other, right? How they can move. And it also changes how you think of that piece and even the value that you place on that piece, right? The ones that have more moves, they're often treated as more valuable. Um, so that's getting pretty deep. But to bring us back to moves, more range, more available, more possible. And I think of pretty much everything in terms of moves because I find it so helpful. And I want to give you just a few quick examples where it can be useful. So, one example is feeling burdened, overly responsible. Just think about that sense for a moment. Burden. Let's say that feeling returns again and again. It's often described like feeling like you have a lot of weight on your shoulders, right? A lot is resting on you. And if that's the case, then you've definitely got the move of taking on tasks, right? Like you've probably mastered that move. But you may not have the move of unburdening yourself. And it could be that you don't know that move in your body. You haven't practiced it. So you know how to take it on, but you don't know how to shrug it off. You think about it like a jacket. Putting it on is different than taking it off. They're different moves. So that's one example. Second example is feeling merged with other people's energy and emotions. And anybody that knows me knows it's been a big one for me for a long time, which is why I feel like I'm able to be really helpful with it. So the move that's mastered here is an openness, a sensitivity, a receptivity, and an ability to blend, to dissolve the boundaries between things. And that move is so neat. It's like really, really needed in our world with so much polarization, walls, separateness. We really need people who can do that move. Yeah, I feel like the folks who have that superpower have a lot to teach. And of course, many of us who know that move really well also have the challenge of have had the challenge of living in that receptive mode, basically that move, being stuck in that move and missing another move. And that other move is a move of rejection. And it actually starts very early on with closing the eyes. Just closing the eyes as a way of being separate and distinct from another person. And then it moves to a rejection of yuck, and it involves the tricep pushing away. It starts with just a very little one. Pushing away, so that's a yuck. And eventually, it's also developing in the muscles in the thigh around kicking, and you can't see me, but I'm doing kicking and creating a barrier that way, creating an energetic barrier. It's a bigger barrier, right, with the leg than with the hand. So that's a couple examples. It's probably close to infinite how many moves there are. And I generally find that when someone's having a challenge, there's usually a move that they're just not seeing. That could be learned. It could be that it wasn't learned. Sometimes it's also a matter of just finding like flexibility in a move when it was previously done in a rigid way, right? So maybe we know that move, but we only know it in a very specific context. It doesn't adapt to our situation. So we need different moves for different situations. And my intention sharing this is that you have a framework that you can apply when something challenging comes up. And what I would invite you to try out is just to ask yourself, in any challenging situation, just ask yourself, what embodied move is needed here? What move? And if you find yourself puzzled on something, like you're in a situation and you're thinking about a situation now maybe, and you're like, there's no move, there's no move for that. Challenge me. I love it. let's see if we can find one. So, happy moving.